during part 1. I would say that now is his chance to continue to flex and shine and see what Hosty can do. Obviously, Tracer, depending on the battleground, doesn't always suit the battlegrounds, but it does allow Hosty to do things very well because in phase 1, he was the damage dealer. So we take a look at the battleground choice.
Looking like game number 2 here, taking place on Volskaya Foundry. Selected there by Simplicity, so LFM wanting to go with that first pick selection. Though I agree with you when it comes to, K1 Pro with the, Maev, how much is that going to be something that we end up seeing them prioritize and end up picking up? The one player on Simplicity, I do not poke that beast, is still K1 Pro. All the others, I would see, like, there's a moment where I'd be like, I feel a little bit more confident here or there, but I still like K1 Pro is that guy that when we get him on those flashy damage dealers and killers like the Maev, he's probably going to outplay me. That's how I feel like I'm on the other side of the battlefield. So I would like to see LFM maybe rely not only that possible element of pushing the envelope there, but just more on the stale meta, on the fact that we got a Malfurion Tracer on a Dragon Shire of the last game. If we still get that kind of meta, like, I think LFM can outdraft hard enough to get a pretty big win here.
See how things unfold, whether he does go back to more of that mage style, whether we get the Phoenix control. For Fury, the Garrosh games, it seems like there's so much on his shoulders. And for a lot of Garrosh players, a Leoric doesn't really bring that hard CC. You get the slow, obviously the Entomb is great, but do you get the type of control that a Yrel or a Blaze has, which I believe we saw Blaze banned out by Simplicity. Yrel obviously during that first ban phase. But it's getting somebody else to make the plays for you, because when you can't make the plays as Garrosh as often as you'd like, it is very much felt, and it is very noticeable.
I will say I do like that Ryzen Leoric priority purely only into a Malfurion. I think that Malfurion should fall out of the meta drastically. Like,
with no ice block,
with no ice block. Yeah. There are so many things that just go, all right, you're a dead bird. I don't care. That it should be like, when I see that Malfurion late, right, I go, okay, we'll just Leoric and Tomb. That used to be the answer. But you could ice block to be able to sustain, and you're like, okay, now it's 50-50. The fact that he loses a lot of these trades, like the Valkyrie we've already gotten today, I do think we're going to see not only less Malfurion overall, but some answers into things like the Leoric to be able to deal with that. So what I'm trying to say is I do like it a little bit more based on the fact that Malf is kind of died off and it's one of those answers, but it's always a problem. Whenever you have Leoric, you need a hard gap closing initiator, or more often than not, you just go, it's a Entomb all in, or we have no team fight at all.
When I talked to Collusion, I was asking him, about Malfurion and things of that nature, and it was when Team Freedom faced the beast that is known as Leftovers at the Western Clash. We're going to see the Genji ban. No ice block. Cho'Gall annihilated Malfurion.
Yeah. No ice block, no problem.
And it was just like, is this a thing?
I want you to remember long time ago when Malfurion got meta, how few supports were even willing to pick ice block. Do you remember that? Like, I was on raging for months, like, why is ice block not the standard? And now it's taken away and we're all sad. It's just, I'm crazy. It blows my mind how often we didn't see the ice block as the standard, became the meta. Only thing we know now, we take it away, and it's like, I'm surprised people are not like, I mean, he's as good as he ever used to be. Granted, there's a couple reworks in the way. Back to this draft. I guess that's probably fair.
Brightwing still has ice block.
Oh, don't talk about her. Not even an ice block can bring her back into the meta. Yrel, Blaze, Raynor, a lot of slow sustain here. Deckard and Muradin not going to commit in major any direction, really, when looking at LFM's composition. You back that up with any long sustained DPS, though, and they have a ridiculous team fight in the mid to late stages.
There was no way I think Muradin made it past there. The Garrosh can be appealing as a backup option, but fear of one being banned out by Simplicity and then the other, that does bring up the question for Simplicity, is that King Caffeine does go back to the Garrosh. And if we're looking at playmaking tanks, Diablo already off the board, as we're going to see Hanzo taken out. Does LFM target that front line? Maybe they have something else in mind now that the Raynor's already picked up. They think, hey, we targeted Hosty before. Can they continue to target Hosty, or is Hosty on the Raynor? And that's the flexibility that you have with K1 Pro and Hosty, is that either one of them can flex in that backlane.
I thought it was really interesting that they had chosen Hosty to be the one to pick on, because I feel like if you look at Hosty early in HGC and even early within his career before the HGC, I think that's very fair criticism. But as time's gone on, he is not the member of this roster I'm willing to bully and kind of put them on those limited heroes. If anything, I feel like members like Zuna are that even though he's willing to pick something a little less comfortable, it usually shows within the play. Whereas Hosty, I don't feel like we get that case, but LFM still sticking to the plan here.
Well, they're doing it. Medivh is a hosty hero. If you ever go to his stream, half the heroes that he's playing, it seems like hosty on Medivh, hosty on Medivh, hosty on Medivh. It's something that he plays so incredibly well, and it's something they can easily work in. We're going to get our first look at Whitemane for Simplicity. We had it in our series earlier, maybe more success this go-around, and we do get the Garrosh there for King Caffeine.
Still a territorial battleground where Whitemane is probably going to be far more likely prioritized. Just sit around the capture point for long periods of time, establish dominance on your territory. So again, still looking for that slow DPS. Something like a Gul'dan comes to mind. I don't think Gul'dan is the proper in this type of situation, but I think it's going to be really problematic for the Blaze Rainer and Garrosh to be able to deal with that in these fights. They back it with sustained DPS, but not the one I was looking for here, a Vala Tassadar.
I do worry, though. So for Whitemane, does have some form of direct healing if you so choose it, but Whitemane does suffer from potentially being interrupted. And you look at Yrel, easy to get into the back line. Murden can definitely live back there. It even brings up the notion of, do we get a Skullcracker, which is way out of meta because give him the axe is so strong. And I almost wondered if we would get some type of Tassadar on the side of Simplicity instead taken by LFM, but Cassia is going to be the answer to make sure and get those blinds in for that heavy carry from Vala.
Feel like that last pick for Simplicity, they got to be feeling pretty good about themselves there, knowing that the only major DPS source on the other side is Tassadar Vala, and both of those, Vala, a lot of auto attack dependency there. Tassadar, kind of auto attack dependent, and they have a lot of tools to be able to deal with it there. They have the long sustained DPS. Overall, I was really feeling LFM's draft until we got that Vala Tassadar rotation, and then it just felt, again, a little dated. It's at this point I wanted to wear back to Beyond the Ariel because I was like, where is the, the Ariel kind of synergy here?
He retired. I
mean, yeah. Deckard is okay into this playstyle. He's not bad, but he doesn't really scream the, again, opening week of HGC that I expected, I guess, with these drafts.
We do have some positives, obviously, because Yrel and Murden, if they get tossed in, can easily jump out. You have the control of the slows from Tassadar auto attacks. You also have situational control with Deckard over the front line against the Garrosh. If they can control the Garrosh, I think that's going to be their best chance. It's just a matter of where does Vala kind of fall beyond that? Can you get past the Garrosh to get some of those squishier targets? I think that's one of the biggest concerns.
And even beyond that, it's just when she is that character, we all can highlight Vala is the guy who's going to get the kill. We know the blind's coming in, right? And that's the problem, is when we know who's doing the killing to Garrosh, it makes it very easy to know who to blind.
Representing our other regions here is LFM with their sprays, including their own with LFM.
Respect the shout out to China within those sprays there. Not too many fans of Nut, but glad we have some.
Gen G, man, that new mount looks nice.
Oh, it is on every game I play, period, right now. That
might be the best winner's mount I've ever seen.
Okay, well, don't talk to most of the members of Simplicity. I don't know if they'll
Cloud9 still.
It is
that OG winner's mount. That's probably still, it's got the old school flavor, plus it still looks clean.
I can respect that. Auto attack Vala going to be the build here. I want to say that's surprising, but I mean, it's Vala Tassadar, right? We expect that to be the pickup, especially with the control onto Garrosh. The only reason I assumed it might go a little bit of a different direction is purely on that Cassia pickup. Too much dependency into the autos versus maybe Q build for the single target DPS, while still, again, being able to not rely on getting blinded, but we'll see if we can make it happen here for LFM.
Feels like it's going to be an early start. I mean, outside of a Garrosh toss in, but even then, if you don't get a priority target, I mean, a Tassadar would just dimensional shift away. It's really Deckard Vala. If you catch them out of rotation, it's just, there's not a lot of blow up just yet. Obviously, Fend, one of the higher, if you get the full channel on a Fend, it's one of the higher abilities that we have in the game. It's just a matter of finding that full channel and the amount of lockdown that you need. It's going to require a lot of coordination for them.
And normally when we watch Tassadar or Vala compositions be successful, it's always with the Vala demanding a lot of answers out of Simplicity's composition. So, for fight number one, I'm already going to be keeping my eyes onto Droplet, seeing how much focus he's actually kind of getting and how well he's towing the line there with Simplicity, with the Garrosh on the front line. Because King Caffeine, versus the Vala, she should have the mobility advantage, not only because of her vault out, but also because, again, the passive mobility she will be gaining, and kiting around that groundbreaker territory is very important. It's always important when facing Garrosh, but it's pretty much necessary when looking at, number one, successful Volatacidar compositions and successful comps just in number two against Garrosh in general.
Curious who's willing to risk going for the biotic emitter, that support camp up the top in the neutral area. Garrosh has great control by tossing people off. If Urel makes that rotation up, can obviously use the hammer to knock people back as well. So very curious on how much people are willing to commit to this.
Another kind of curious thing to pose here is that at level 4 for Figgy there onto the Tassadar, we did get the Call's Light, which is the armor rather than the lifesteal. So to, again, maybe show interest towards going auto and then kind of diverting away from it here by moving into the W and armor build for the Tassadar. It's an interesting choice from LFM.
Well, you want to talk about interesting, you know, it seemed that we might have something for Whitemane along the way. Instead, Whitemane, very different build, more damage-oriented. Again, you do get heals based off damage dealt, so Righteous Flame at level 1, dealing more damage to targets that are stunned, rooted, silenced, or slowed, and you do have quite a bit of that control. But level 4 also making sure to get rid of those Desperation stacks and mana restored by going into High Inquisitor. We'll see how exactly that plays out. Again, we're still experiencing Whitemane for the first time, and we're still waiting for that solid build that we know is going to work, or whether she just has this type of diversity.
Stormbolt does land there on a Hosi, who falls extremely low. They're retreating back to the turret. It should be noted that Figgy already burnt the Dimensional Shift. Fury going to get flipped over. Door toss back out. Jet Propulsion actually dodged there. Azuna trying to find his way back. Swabs ends up using the leap, giving the armor over to the members of LFM. Blind drops there. His percentage almost gained for Simplicity. LFM looking to reopen here after they've tapped, but they're falling very, very low. They're not doing a good enough job, I would argue, kind of exploiting that level 4 usage by Swabs, giving everybody the armor. And now Simplicity has gained the upper hand in HP, which is not something you'd expect out of a Deckard Tassadar Vala composition. Look at Dropslets. Yeah. Oh my.
He's just getting chunked.
There's the blind. Groundbreaker, and now Dropless has to back out here. He's going to move back up. Oh, again, look at that. Swabs lands a 2-man chunk, and Hammer there. Jet Propulsion going to be thrown back onto Fury. Groundbreaker there from King Caffeine. They're trying to aggress forward, but look at that. Muradin kiting out the root, forcing out the Indomitable from King Caffeine, but now LFM winning significantly when looking at the HP.
You know, Fury is rocking a Diva voice line saying, is this easy mode? Because he's just surviving. He's like, you can't kill me. You're not going to kill me yet. And somehow staying alive in the clutchest of moments. But level 7 picked up here by both teams. And that old school Vala build, of course, going into the auto attack and then multi-shot at 4 and 7.
I like that we do end up getting that level of kind of avoidance there. It makes more sense when looking at the Tassadar. I thought it was going to be full auto, and I was like, with the Cassia, is that the right way to commit there? But I think it's the better adjustment for LFM, the fact that they commit towards that. But it's not over yet here. Only first victory over that first initial fight. Have to win a bit more here. Is the Still Protector not going to be picked up? Urel now joining the rest of the ranks. Raynor is making the transition down towards the top lane, showing Simplicity has a last stand over this point. But if they end up struggling here, they're going to end up losing a lot. Full 5-on-5 here as they reflect.
Oh, they get the toss in. Fury does find his way out, but Hosty and team making their way onto the point. But that turret starting to take down Hosty's health bar. Needs a lot more healing there. Tiger JK going Fanatical Power at level 7, by the way, to drop that armor to get more spell power, which means more healing. You can see that's already out. Fury gets tossed in behind. It's still in overtime. And now we have Swabs going in, making the play, getting the knockback, and holding point is LFM for now. But for how long is the health bar starting to drop on the side of Simplicity?
K1 Pro moving up. Zuna as well. Taps it one more time, trying to buy time for everybody to get back tap. Zuna throws down the flames. He'll be healing up with that oil. Swabs takes a lot of damage there from K1 Pro, who beats that Stormbolt from Fury. Flip over. Oh, look at that. The door toss actually interrupted, but a huge 4-man root immediately after Swabs. Use the hammer to knock them back here 1-for-1 for the two teams of Swab. Trying to cut out, will survive. Droplets is available at full HP there, and he is the main damage source. Zuna trying to cut away, flip over onto Droplets. If he goes down, all the damage is going to be lost. Turns around with that W, hits the grenade damage, and ends up getting another kill here. LFM, great play around control point A.
Tiger JK just ran out of mana. That's one of the weird things as we start to see these builds unfold. Yes, the level 4 talent can give you mana back, but it's very different from the builds we've seen throughout the day that might have more mana retention, more mana control. Instead, unable to hold onto that point. I am curious on if we'll get more of the damage-oriented style on the heroic at level 10, just going full on. I'm going to heal you by killing the other team. So we'll see how that plays out, but LFM establishing a full level lead here with the Protector. And unlike the, oh, wait a minute, King Caffeine getting rooted there. Unlike our matchup earlier in the day, this is a chance for the Protector to potentially move in and grab the fort.
Yeah, but judging by the fact that LFM has actually committed 3 members towards the rotation towards bottom, shows not too much emphasis, at least towards top yet. K1 Pro doing his best to be able to rid of it. Tassadar will join the rest of the team here with the transition. I really love that rotation from LFM. Thought they were going to actually just full commit towards the 3-man on the bottom half of the battleground, but then feigning interest towards mid just in case there was any need to help that top Protector, and then be able to, again, join bottom after succeeding with that top fort siege. Very clever transitions from them, and leads them to a pretty significant advantage in the earlier stages here, but it's important that they do not let up. They have one of the better compositions of being able to force problems down in between, you know, kind of Protector points with that Vala Tassadar. Let's just see if they decide to do so. That the original kind of trifecta, if you will.
Tiger JK did go into the Divine Reckoning, so when he pops that Fanatical Power with the level 1 damage-oriented spell, obviously you're level 10 now damage-oriented, the healing potential is through the roof. Your survivability potential diminishes drastically when you look at that armor reduction. So if Urel and Murden can hop onto that backline when they see that pop, that is a chance for them to potentially turn the tides in the fight. So Tiger JK definitely taking his swing at a different white main build. Our first time looking at it. We'll see how it plays out in these big team fights, because post level 10, that's all that you've got going forward. But for LFM, they're trying to hit that 13 talent tier, see if they can control this game.
And LFM is successful with long sustaining fights, and because that is a 100-second cooldown from Tiger JK, I look at this and I go, I bait it over things like the support camp, and then I walk away from it. Hold up, they'll flip along with the taunt there onto Furious. He's going to dwarf toss it back. Bunker is laid down as the Tornado kind of going through Simplicity, splitting the C's here. Nobody get the support camp yet. Swabs leaps in here, throws down a 4-man hammer. Look at that scroll of ceiling there, splitting all of Simplicity. Swabs goes in for another slap there. Bazuna is going to meet Fury with a jet propulsion there. Groundbreaker ends up dropping. They're trying to cut away, but LFM unable to make it away. Fury goes down.
It just seems every time I think white man's going to die or somebody's going to die with a white man on their team, she's like, I'm good. Somehow surviving in that, because that was the clear focus for him to get back onto that, see if he could take down white man just enough mana to keep himself alive for Tiger JK, and they turn that over against Fury. So despite giving up control of that, still come out in terms of the kills, and it gets them back in terms of experience, at least a minor part of that, to try and be on even talent tiers for the next control point.
And as you were talking about some of the more difficult defenses for Whitemane, that is a situation where it's not going to come to light, I think, in this game, or at least not yet, but I would like to see it, is based on the fact that, yes, she's got, you know, offense, or her best defense is her offense in most of these situations, and it puts it into a position to where, again, if you have a 100-second cooldown, if I am LFM, if your offense and defense are linked together after that, oh my, Scroll of Ceiling, Tornado play, is that Dark Chimera, the new member of LFM, coming in and just bodying Simplicity?
Dark Chimera may not be a giant human being, but his stature in this game is large, as he put that entire fight on his back. Whitemane ended up falling there. My goodness, Dark Chimera, welcome to the HGC, my friend.
That was pretty. Total zone control there, and setting it up to where it should be a lot of points gained for free here. For LFM, another attempt there with the Scroll of Ceiling, forcing out maybe not so needed Bunker, but another cooldown 1 here for LFM. All I was going to say earlier, J-How, is because their defense and offense are linked together and the cooldown's 100 seconds, you bait it. She is one of the most trade-up characters. When she's winning, she wins extremely hard. When she's losing, she will struggle very, very hard. So bait out that cooldown, try and find ways to be able to kind of manipulate that around that support camp. But we're going to see it available once more here for Whitemane. The Divine Reckoning as they join here over Control Point B. Not a 5-man rotation from LFM yet, as they pick up the turret, and they'll probably join Fury.
I mean, the main thing is that Bunker's still 20 seconds out. See how patient LFM chooses to be. Not close enough to 16 to where they can necessarily wait out and give up the channel and then re-engage with that 16 talent tier. So we might have an even talent fight, at least momentarily. King Caffeine gets a toss back, unable to hit the Groundbreaker at the end of that. But LFM, they're in pursuit here as they move forward, unable to get the lockdown. But the Valkyrie pulls in one member. That's actually going to be Dark Chimera. The Finn comes out. Dark Chimera surviving for now. Hosty, he's actually going to fall on the return. Tiger JK the second. And now all of a sudden, LFM putting on The damage as third member has fallen. King Caffeine walking away. K1 Pro just trying to get out alive.
Dark Chimera getting Valkyried into that fight, but it was not even close. So much effort went on to trying just to be able to kill the Deckard Cain, and they were unable to do so. I mean, I was just watching Deckard the whole fight. It was literally Valkyrie in, just dropped 3 potions onto himself, and not a single ounce of fear really seemed to be established there, and that was without the Lornado available. So this is just grim now for Simplicity here, as we do see LFM with the 16 talents here already putting in some prep work there towards that keep top wall. And now they got the Protector. Oh, look at this, even backing out, looking towards this supporting healing camp before they end up sieging up. This is likely going to be a keep. The question is how much more is lost on Simplicity's end.
Well, if you're King Caffeine, you're looking at Urel, percentage-based damage, Vala, percentage-based damage. Standing on that front line becomes far scarier post-16 against this LFM composition as the wall already down. Lasers spreading out multiple people. Hosty's got to be careful. There goes the Scroll of Sealing, and there's the Lornado, keeping him isolated. Bunker not down in time. Hosty, he's going to be the first of all. Another excellent play here by Dark Chimera to open this game up, and they might be looking for more.
They may be looking for more. Another root prep there. Swabs ends up using the leap to set things up as well. The keep now is the victim of LFM, but what do they do now? It looks like retreat is the game plan here. Cycle out the pressure, probably focus towards that bottom fort, as it is where the next Punisher will, or Protector will end up spawning. I like this decision on the way. You know, look to pick up as much experience as they possibly can. As long as that bottom fort is secured 100%, you remove a lot of the forgiveness and decision-making for Simplicity. Guess they have confidence that the 16 not going to be available, allows for the slower rotation and abuse that 16 window. But this is where Simplicity, if they're looking to make a comeback in this game, should be trying to poke the beast of LFM.
LFM just, they're making up for last game. They said, look, we didn't get a lot of kills. We didn't have a lot of control over that one, but they definitely have control here. 3-level lead. They might just move forward. You said that 16 talent tier advantage should allow them to siege up here in the bot lane. Psionic Echo now here for Tassadar. Great sieging potential. This amount of control so significant in the race towards 20 for Simplicity and Dread. They're going to be limited, and I mean extremely limited options for them to take a fight on even talent tiers. That window is so small. I just don't see Simplicity having an easy time getting back into this game.
That's why I said that I felt like if I was Simplicity, I would like to see them try and poke over that fight over bottom. That I felt like LFM was willing to risk so much time without the Protector while still sieging up with, even though they would have the 16, you're far more likely to catch your opponent making that mistake, right, than messing up in this laning circumstance up until the 20 spike when you don't even have a fort down. If you had a fort down where maybe you could make an aggressive flank and rotation, it could be a bit more realistic. But now if you're LFM, you just play safe, do not push any of the waves that you do not have to push against your opponent's side, and just wait out the 20 spike and control point C.
Stay away from Dark Chimera and Deckard if you're on the side of Simplicity.
Yeah, no joke.
Okay, so 20 still a ways away for LFM, but this cautious approach, they get the camp, it keeps the lane control, they have catapults in the top, and for them, it seems like LFM doesn't have to do anything. I mean, there's 10 seconds left on that support camp, but is it even worth, oh, wait a minute. You can't, oh my goodness. Calculated, but now Deckard, he's under assault here, does still have that healing pulse if he wants to put it down, hasn't put it down just yet, able to stay alive.
I mean, J-Hop, that was about everything we said that, like, you just don't have to. Like, could it happen? The worst case, somehow it was almost handed on a Tassadar platter over to Simplicity.
I was surprised he didn't shift out the minute Garage came out of the woods.
You know, apparently having Dark Chimera as a support builds a lot of confidence in play, because I agree with you. It felt like there should have been just a little bit faster on the dimensional shift opportunities. But, you know, he survives. Figgy's good. Everything's still according to plan here for LFM.
20 to control, as I said, control point just a few seconds away from getting the notification, so 25 seconds away. What's not 25 seconds away is level 20, as that is now picked up here by LFM. Catapult stop. Simplicity, I think they realized, like, their last stand here in the bot lane. If they make an immediate rotation bottom, it's a perfect opportunity for LFM to just go top lane, push that out, and put the timer on Simplicity. LFM still very much in control with the 20 talents here. Here we go. There's going to be the lockdown as the Valkyrie pulls one in, but that is several members being locked in again by the Lornado.
Yeah, into the Lornado droplets with the auto attacks, kiting, keeping himself alive along with that Tassadar shielding the hammer. Once again there from Swab's Fury trying to track it down, got the auto attacks to make that happen. King Caffeine trying to kite out, Zuna as well, but one more slap there out from Swab's. 4 members of Simplicity have gone down. And with this, I don't think LFM is going to waste any more time. Gonna head over to the core while Caffeine, you know, flaunting Garrosh's survivability mechanics there.
LFM, 14 kills to 2 here in game number 2. Evening up this series 1-1. I just don't even know what to say. It felt like a beat down there. After game number 1, Simplicity came out. They had the control of the kills. But for LFM, this composition, the amount of times that it seemed like LFM was going to die, it was there. But the ultimate X factor of your new player coming in to literally bust this game wide open. I mean, we're talking root. It's like, I got the root. Don't worry, guys. I'm also going to bring them to us. Don't worry, I've got extra damage at 16 as well. I mean, Decker damage is not that high, but rest assured, it was definitely felt by Simplicity.
It very much was felt by Simplicity there, and I agree with you. The fact that, you know, on the support role, willing to be that proactive with the Lornado of all things, right? Normally, when we think of that huge playmaking capabilities, especially out of the Eastern scene, it's with that stay a while and listen, but Dark Chimera, that was impressive. I do, you know, have, I guess, qualms and concerns here or there from both sides of the battlefield, but when it's said and done, I still look at LFM from draft 1 and 2. I don't like how they executed it, but I feel like they are, you know, bringing definitely an element and a level of flavor here that I didn't expect, whereas Simplicity, you know, it seems like they're just kind of sticking a little bit more towards meta, other than maybe White Mane, which doesn't feel too far off. It's surprising.
I'm going to tell you, I'm still not sure on where White Mane sits these first 2 games that we've seen it. It's going to take a while till we figure out how it goes and how effective White Mane has been, because right now the playmaking hasn't been there. It's been more on the side of Deckard. But either way, we're going to find out how this series unfolds. We're tied up 1-1. We've got more LFM and Simplicity action underway. We'll be right back.